He's unfortunately suffered a partial tear of the Liz Frank ligament in his foot, so it probably means about a 6-week period out and not playing. So it's really unfortunate for him. He's been in very good form and really important for us. So he's suffered a bit of a setback, but hopefully getting back in 6 weeks.
Does that mean surgery or boot? Or
No, it doesn't mean surgery. He'll go into a boot, fortunately he's avoided surgery, which is a good thing, because if they, obviously if you have surgery, it's the season. So he's avoided that. It's bad enough to miss 6 weeks, but not bad enough for surgery.
Did you think you were out of the bad luck of injuries? Thought you?
Oh, look, you always have them, and when we had McVeigh and Naismith out of the team last week. Whilst we got a few back, you pick up a few, you lose a few. It's a bit of swings and roundabouts at times, but you've just got to be able to deal with that. And we've been pleased with the players coming into the team, and we think we've got some players in good form in our reserves that can come in as well.
Those two you mentioned, will they be back this week?
I wouldn't think McVeigh would. I don't think he'll be back this week. I'm not sure about Naismith. It'll depend upon how he trains on Wednesday. He ran today and felt good. Just unsure about the change of direction and see how he goes on Wednesday.
What are the options that you'll mull over for Cunningham?
Oh, there's a few. Jordan Dawson didn't play on the weekend. He was a travelling emergency, but has been in very good form for us. And Ollie Florent has been very good for us. He's played at senior level and was terrific for our reserves on the weekend. We've got a couple of options there. We're not sure about Kieran Jack just at this stage. He's doing some training today, and see how he trains Wednesday. Whether he plays this week or not, we'll make that decision later in the week.
What does he need to do, Kieran, this week to be a realistic shot of playing?
Oh, it's really just the medical call. It's more about whether he's actually right to play. Has he done enough work with his hip? The good thing is he's out doing the training session, but it's obviously a massive step up to get into a game. The Hawks, their CG on a Friday night, so we'll let the medical guys make that decision later in the week.
And in terms of both him and Sam, do the back-to-back 6-day breaks, are they a factor in that decision, or those decisions?
Not really. We're faced with that as other teams are at different times, and we deal with it. Our conditioning staff are very good at being able to organise that, and our reserves had a 7-day break, so not a big part in that.
Was that your most consistent overall team performance, do you think, across the board?
Yeah, it was. It certainly was from the first bounce a pretty even performance from everyone. We had 22 contributors, and everyone played their role in the game, and our pressure was excellent. So there's that formula usually stands up, and it certainly stood up on the weekend and needs to stand up again this week.
I think you said after the Carlton game that finals football just seemed so far away, given the start of the season. Does it seem a little bit closer now, or?
It's probably the same. We've got the Hawks this week, and I've always looked at that, what's immediately in front of us. You take care of what's immediately in front of us. You don't have to worry too much about what's on the horizon. You normally look at the training sessions, and then you get into the games and make sure you take care of that. You don't get too far, looking too far ahead. It's not relevant for us at the moment. It's more relevant for us playing good football this week against Hawthorn.
Given all the results we've seen this year, though, if any team could come back from 0-6 to make the 8, would it be this year?
As I said, let's just worry about the Hawks this week, and that'll take care of itself.
Yeah, Tommy Mitchell, a lot of both coaches on the weekend spoke about his 50 touches and where it sits, but how would you rate, having known what he can do close up?
Oh, look, I know that as probably as good as anyone how good a player Tommy Mitchell can be and how he can find the footy. I reckon if there was one football left in the world, he'd employ Tom Mitchell to go and find it. And he'd find it somewhere. It could be in a cave in the middle of a jungle somewhere, and he'd be able to go and find it because he's that good at being able to find the footy. He's hard. He had an enormous amount of contested possessions on the weekend. He wins his one-on-ones, and he knows where to run to get it. He's just certainly his first half was excellent. Had a big part in where they were, where they were sitting at half time.
Do people pay too much attention these days to metres gained and running and that sort of thing? Because someone obviously has to get the footy and dish it out.
Someone has to get it. That's a good point. Someone does have to get it and give it to those guys. But I think every game's in isolation, and every impact is in isolation too. You need to look at that and what impact particular players had in their role. And if the role that he played was, as you think it would be, to get his hand on the footy in a contested situation, that was pretty effective.
It's a fairly midfield they have, but has Tom become the number one threat? Is he, when you look at their midfield now and start planning, is he the one to put most time into?
Oh, we put time into them all. Obviously, he's been in very consistent form and is at almost the peak of his powers in regards to his game on the weekend. So, he'll take up a bit of planning, but all of the team does. I mean, we look at them all, and he's one obviously we know well, but we also, whilst we know him well, it's actually hard to beat when you're winning contested ball. It's difficult to plan against when you've got a player that's so good at winning contested ball and just winning his one-on-ones. It's not as if you can sit on him on the outside and stop that, because he's actually good at winning the 50-50 balls.
It's that much harder to tag that sort of player, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's just in a one-on-one situation, he's as good as there is, and has always been since he's been a kid, and continues to be now. He's an excellent player in a one-on-one situation, and he's very smart, knows where to go.
There's been so many big games between the Hawks and Swans over the years, and I suppose the latter position's a bit unusual this time for both sides. But is it just as big, this match? I mean, does it have any different feel about it?
Oh, it doesn't have a different feel for us. It's a very important game for us, and clearly it is for Hawthorn as well. And whilst it might look from the outside and probably a little bit internally as well, a bit different as far as where we sit on the ladder, it's equally as important as any other game we've played against the Hawks. And they're a very good team. They jumped out of the blocks well on the weekend. They've got some good players running around for them, so I'm sure it'll be a beauty.
People, I suppose every year seem to say, this is the closest season, or this is a particularly close season. But is this season
Actually
in particular? Yeah. Well, since you've been head coach, is this?
Yeah,
can you
probably.
remember?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, every year you hear the same thing, don't you? And probably we as coaches say it as much as anyone, but this would have to be the most equal, closest season that's been going around for a long time. And you look at the momentum swings in the course of a game or from week to week, and and they can be huge, and it just shows you really how even the competition is and how one team on any given day can beat anyone else. And I'm sure the AFL are pretty happy about that.